Welcome to Wildlife Outdoors with your host, Russell and Jose. If you have a passion for conservation of the outdoors, or you're enjoying a calming hike in the mountains, an exhilarating kayak trip on the river, feeling a fish on the end of your line, cooking on an open flame in a primitive campsite, or stalking big game, just waiting for the perfect shot, you're in the right place. So put on your boots and polarized sunglasses and come along for the ride.
Welcome back to the podcast, guys. We got a short one for you here today, and it's actually going to be a short one for you. We got a lot going on both ends of this. So once again, this is Russell here with my co-host Jose, and we're going to talk a little bit about my weekend adventures. So what'd you do this weekend, Jose?
Dude, I did a whole lot of nothing, man, which is actually kind of a nice change of pace for once. I feel like these last couple weeks has been nonstop, just a lot of stuff going on. So this weekend, it was actually my family member of mine. We were celebrating some graduations, 2 graduations to be exact, and so it was kind of cool, man. Went out there back home and spent some time with the family and everything. It was a really quick turnaround. I just went there Saturday, stayed the night, and then came back home Sunday, or not home, but came back to College Station Sunday. So I knew I wouldn't have any time to go fishing or anything like that, so I didn't even bother packing any of my fishing gear. But it was just nice to kind of relax and just spend some time with some family and friends and things. But that's really it, dude. Nothing too crazy, but got some rest finally, so I'll take it.
That's awesome, man. Lord knows we all need some rest.
Yeah, what about you, man?
Man, dude, I went and did that island camping trip. So
that's right. I saw those photos. How'd that go?
Dude, it was freaking awesome, man. So like I'd said before in the previous podcast, we thought it was going to be really hot, and it wasn't. So it got up to, I think, about 90 on Saturday. And we kayaked around for a bit. Well, first we went kayaking with one of my buddies and his wife on the same lake, just on the other side of the lake. And we went and kayaked for about, I guess, an hour and a half maybe. And just kind of cruising around and loaded up the kayaks, and then went and got a bite to eat, and then went back to the lake on the other side of the lake. And we launched out of the north side of the lake, and probably, I think it was like the third island out from the launch. And there was this nice little cove, and then there was a point on the opposite end of the cove. And I was I wanted to watch the sunset. And so I was trying to figure my bearings and see which way was west. And the point that we chose was facing the west. And so the sun didn't set, I guess I didn't have my west absolutely correct. I guess the west that I was looking at was more northwest. But where the sunset was still pretty nice. I wanted it to set completely on the other side of the lake from where we were at. But unfortunately, it set a little further to, like, if you're standing on where we were camping at, I was hoping it was going to be straight ahead, but it was a little further to the right. And so the sunset behind an island that was a little bit closer, which it was fine. It was still a gorgeous sunset. But we picked that spot there, set up camp, and then went cruising around. And the water was probably, I'd say, in the 80s degree temperature wise. And it was like just perfect for swimming. The water wasn't cold. It was warm outside. It wasn't too hot. It was just awesome, man. Had a nice little breeze. So we did that. We went swimming and hiked around. We went and kayaked to a few different islands, and just explored, and it was just good. And then we went back, and when we got back to our island, it was probably, I don't know, maybe 6:00 ish. And we started a fire and got out the Jetboil, and we got some Mountain House meals. I got chicken and rice, and I think Ruth got beef stew. They were both really good, but the beef stew one was better, in all honesty. It just had a lot more flavor. And then I had a couple little Cayman Jack margarita thingies and just kind of chilled, man. Hung out in the hammock. We ended up not sleeping in the hammocks. We ended up putting up a tent and sleeping in the tent. But the hammocks we only set up one hammock, and we set it up. There was only really 2 trees on the area that we were at that were far apart enough and thick enough for us to be comfortable putting a hammock on, hence why we didn't sleep in them, because we could only put one up. So, but we relaxed in it for a little bit, watched the sunset. I got Ruth to actually fish for a little bit with the fly rod, and it was I wasn't prepared, I guess. it was the sun was setting and they were hitting top water, and I brought a sink tip, an intermediate tip fly line on my 6-weight. Mm-hmm. And so I was trying to throw some small top waters, and you could, get one little pop and then it would start sinking. So next time I know I need to bring floating line. I wasn't even thinking about it. I just grabbed a 6-weight. Didn't even think about looking at the line. So just fished for a little bit that way and just hung out, man. And then I did end up recording a lot. So I have a lot of footage between the GoPro, my DSLR, and my phone. So hopefully I'll be making a YouTube video soon.
Nice, dude. That sounds like an awesome trip, bro.
Dude, we need to go.
I'm down, man. I've always wanted to do like a kayak based camping trip, you know what I mean? Whether it be on a river or like
right.
I've thought about doing it on the coast where, because there's a bunch of little small islands littered throughout the flats and stuff. And I thought about going and camping there, trying it, like doing like a little catch and cook, whatever, just hanging out. But I'm not even gonna lie, dude. I hate camping on the beach. I hate it. I hate camping on the beach.
There's sand everywhere.
Everywhere, dude. It's just kind of uncomfortable. And also, I don't spend a lot of time on the coast as much. So the tide swings, I guess, could be unpredictable. So I would hate to like wake up and have my tent damn near flooded, So,
exactly.
But yeah, dude, I'm down, bro. Let's do it.
Yeah, I would say probably do it when it's a little bit cooler because it did get pretty hot. Now at nighttime, it was perfect. It got down to 65 degrees. And it's a little breeze, dude. It was perfect. I didn't expect it to get that cool. I guess we just went at the perfect time, and dude, it felt amazing. But yeah, going camping in the heat of the summer just isn't the greatest.
Yeah, especially here in Texas, it's freaking cooking right now, man.
Right.
So I've never had the chance to meet Ruth or much less talk to her. So at least I don't really know if she's like an outdoorsy type of person, but what was her, like, what did she think about the trip?
So she really enjoyed it. So she's outdoorsy in the sense of outdoors recreation, like hiking, kayaking, stuff like that. She's not into fishing really at all. I think she just does it just because I like it. So she it's not really something that she enjoys doing. So I don't make her do it, but she kind of wants to have similar interests as me, so she'll do it if I'm doing it. So which I think is amazing of her to do. I don't know if she's ever been hunting, but I don't think that she's a big hunter, obviously. But yeah, she likes hiking and kayaking, and she doesn't go camping a lot, but she does enjoy it. So it was kind of right up her alley. And so, nice. She really enjoyed it. Me not camping with women very often. I didn't bring toilet paper and, stuff like that. So next trip, we're definitely going to make sure we have toilet paper, and I didn't bring plates or anything like that. Luckily, it was just a 1-day trip, so we weren't out there for an extensive period of time. But yeah,
that reminds me of a story. So whenever, if you guys are listeners, if you listen to the podcast that we did with our friend Victor, or Josh, as he's often called. So I used to play Pee Wee football with him, and his dad used to coach the team that we played for. And we used to go practice at this park in our hometown. And there's this one kid. He told Coach, "Coach, I gotta go to the restroom." He goes, "Well, there's some porta potties over there. Go do what you gotta do." So he went. He was gone for a while, but we were too busy practicing. We didn't really notice, and he finally came back. And then Coach, it just happened to be like a point where I guess we were kind of having a break, and Coach looks at him and goes, "Dude, what happened to your sock?" He goes, "Well, Coach, there wasn't any toilet paper, so I had to do what I had to do."
I've been there a time or two, actually. Back when I used to work for the county paving roads, sometimes we were lucky enough to have a porta potty put out there. But if it wasn't like a huge project we were building, then we wouldn't have one. And there's numerous times I've just had to go, and the nearest place is the woods out in the hill country. Typically, it was like if we're out in Wimberley or Dripping Springs area. And so I'll just go off and take care of my business. And I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes. So,
man, that happened to me going fishing one time. So when we left, me and my buddy, he had just got, if I remember correctly, he had just got this little John boat. So he wanted to go run it around. And he had run it around a few times already, but he's going to go again. And so he invited me to go along if I wanted to. So I was like, yeah, man, I'm down. So we stopped at a Stripes gas station, and they have like this little restaurant called Laredo Taco Company. And they're usually, I mean, they're pretty good. I'm not going to lie. I like them for what they are. For a gas station taco, they're pretty dang good.
right.
And so it was like a little, I guess, ritual that my friends and I would have. We'd always stop at a Stripes and get whatever. And I normally, like, my go-to order, there's one of two tacos that I get, just like chorizo, egg, and potato, or I get, I think it's called the cute taco. I can't remember. I think it's egg, bacon, potatoes, beans and cheese, or something like that. It's pretty dang good. But for whatever reason, I switched it up this go around, and I got some chicharrones, or fried pigskin, essentially, cracklings, I guess. But the way they cook them in like salsa and stuff, for lack of a better term. And so they cook them all these spices and like onions, jalapenos, all that stuff. They're really good, right? I love them. So I got that. But dude, it just did not agree with me that morning, man. So we go out. We're in the middle of this. We're in the middle of the flats. We're just kind of drifting, trying to find some fish. And I started feeling some bubble guts coming up.
Damn it, not the Bee Gees.
Dude, it sounds like this is not good, but I'm going to ignore it. Maybe, I just got to pass some gas or something. So I didn't say nothing. We just kept fishing, and it started getting worse. I was like, dude, this might be pretty bad. And then it just hits me. I just turned to my buddy. I was like, dude, you got to find an island like right now, dude. I got to go, bro. So so we took off, man. We went to the nearest little island, and there was hardly any vegetation on there. I hid behind like the only mangrove bush on there. I should have just went in the water. I don't know why I didn't. I'm stupid. But I did my business, and I was like, shit, what am I going to wipe with? And I had a buff mask on. I was like, well, I guess I'll use this. I'll use that. And not gonna lie though, I mean, it was expensive. This was like, I guess, when buff masks were still like really popular, and they were like $30 a pop. So I bought this buff for like $30 from Academy. I was like, I was really upset that I had to use it, but not gonna lie, dude, it was like the softest toilet paper I've ever used in my life. the
most luxury.
Too.
Yeah.
Oh man. But dude, never again. Ever since that day, I will not. I'll still go to Laredo Taco Company. I just will not get the chicharrones. Hard pass.
Right. I normally, whenever I would go there, because they're not Stripes anymore, are they? I think Valero bought them or something like that.
I still see them in Stripes.
No, they were Valeros before, and Stripes bought out the Valeros. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, their tacos are really good. I typically go for the typical bacon and egg. Or their chorizo and egg. It's really good.
Yeah.
But I've never had their chicharrones. Dude, so have you ever got the breakfast tacos from that the store over there by your mom's place?
The Poco Loco?
Maybe.
That's the only restaurant, or the only like
the gas station Mexican store over there?
Yeah, that's closest to my mom's place.
Yeah. So but have you ever had their nopales?
Nah, never.
Oh, dude, their nopales and their chicharrones from there are really good. And then their breakfast tacos are pretty good too. We used to stop in there whenever we were paving on that side of town.
Man, I haven't had nopales forever, bro. I remember going to Mexico. I haven't been to Mexico since I was like 8 years old. Mm-hmm. We used to go every year, maybe twice a year, like once in the summer, once during the winter, to go visit my dad's side of the family over there. But then when stuff started getting really bad along the border and things, my mom didn't feel comfortable taking me anymore. So she started leaving me with my grandparents. So I haven't been back in quite some time. I really want to go because I haven't seen my family forever. And I'd love to go as an adult and just like see it through fresh eyes, if you will. Get a new perspective of things. And
right.
Yeah, anyways, beside the point. So I remember growing up, we used to go there. And my dad, where he grew up, it's like this very rural little town. Mm-hmm. And he lived right across the street from this like big hill or loma or whatever. And so we would go there sometimes, and we'd take a little bucket, and we would go and we would start cutting the prickly pear pads off the pears. and then we'd cut if the tunas or the prickly pear fruit were in season, we'd take them too. So we'd get those and we'd bring them back to my grandma's house, and then we'd sit there and we'd like get a knife and we would pull all the spines off by hand. And I mean, it was a pretty arduous task and pretty repetitive. And you always ended up with spines no matter what. But I remember the next morning, my grandma should like cut up those nopales and she would cook it with like some eggs and some chorizo mexicano or whatever. And dude, it was so good, man. So good. And they used to have like this fireplace. So she would cook over an open fire a lot of times. So she would roast those nopales over coals.
Dude, that sounds so good.
Yeah, man. And it just added like, I don't even know how to explain it. It just added like more flavor. It was amazing, dude. I haven't had legit nopales like that in forever.
Dude, I don't know if I've ever had them like that. I've just had them from, restaurants up in Texas. But dude, that sounds so good. There's something about like charbroiling stuff that just adds so much flavor. Like when I make Indian food, I have to cook my chicken. Like I like to make a chicken kolhapuri, like a coconut curry and stuff like that. And that, or I'll make like tikka masala. And every time that I cook my chicken, I make sure that I cook the hell out of it. I sear it really hot on my cast iron before I actually throw it in and bake it. And dude, it just adds so much flavor when you brown it that way.
Dude, you remember that one time you came over to my mom's house and my mom and dad left. I don't know where they went, but it was just me, you, my brother. And we, like, our fridge was like, we hadn't gone grocery shopping, so we didn't have a lot of food, but we had potatoes. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, man, we got so hungry. So we built a fire in the back. We got those potatoes and we wrapped them in foil and we threw them in the coals. Remember that?
Yeah,
and
I do.
We were just sitting there after, I don't even know, 2 hours, whatever. We were sitting there and we unwrapped them. We found some butter in the fridge, got some salt, pepper, whatever. And we just had just a plain Jane baked potato, but no joke. Maybe it's because we were so hungry. But I remember all three of us were like, dude, these potatoes hit hard, man. Like there was just something about them, bro. They were just still probably some of the best potatoes I ever had.
Dude, we had a lot of good times out there in your backyard.
Oh man, we did.
I remember your big goat that sounded like a little wuss. I was like, probably the first time I went over to your place. And
I think so.
How old was that goat at the time? He had some big old horns, but he still seemed kind of young.
We had him probably at that point for like 2 years, maybe.
I see. So for the listeners out there, so I went to Jose's house and we were probably maybe freshman, sophomore in high school.
Yeah, something like that.
And I go over to Jose's place and they had this big old goat and it was intimidating because whenever I used to have horses, we had a lease and we would help the lease owner vaccinate their goats and castrate the baby goats and stuff like that. And so I was used to, having to try to tackle this billy that they had so we could vaccinate it. And so I was kind of intimidated by Jose's goat because it was a lot bigger than that goat. And he comes up to me and he was like sizing me up and he like kind of lowered his head. And then he went to bat and he goes, me. It was just like the smallest little noise out of this freaking massive goat. It was so funny.
Dude, I did not like that goat, man. He would always try to punk you. Whenever you go into the pens to try and work with the goats, he would always charge at you or like butt you to see what you would do. So my dad, he told me, he's like, you can't let them do that. They're gonna keep doing it if you let them do it. So he came at me one day and I grabbed his horns, and I just like kind of shoved his face in the ground. Like it was just reactionary. I don't know. I didn't mean to do it on purpose.
Yeah.
But that goat kind of stepped back. He looked at me. He just backed away. I was like, yeah, that's right, man. Dude, I was pissed. I don't even know what happened to that freaking thing. I think we ended up selling all the goats because the coyotes and the neighborhood dogs kept killing them all.
Really?
So it just got exhausting, like replacing them. And then even if we had a fence, it would always get in. We'd find goats dead all the time. So we just it was just impossible. So we just, after, I think we never even, I know we didn't sell them. I think we just kept them until they dwindled down to like the last remaining few. And I think he gave them away.
I see. Did y'all ever move them out to the property that y'all had?
We moved. So yeah, sometimes we move them back and forth. Mm-hmm. And this kind of depends. And but again, it was just as bad out there, if not worse. The coyotes were really bad.
Yeah, they were really bad out there, heading towards Euland.
Yeah, exactly. So they got really bad out there. They were always killing our stock, and the neighborhood dogs every now and again would get them too. But yeah, we'd always check the fences. We would try and repair them. We'd try everything we could. We should have got like a donkey or something to stay with them, but we never did. I guess we were just never that invested. But
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, man. Eventually, they just didn't do good there either. So we just kind of gave up on having the goats around.
Yeah, that's I like goats too, especially when they're
Dude,
babies.
when they're babies, they're freaking adorable, man.
Yeah, they are.
But when they're older, they're punks, man. We have on the ranch that we work at. I think I can tell this story. So the ranch that we work at, they have livestock, and they have like cattle, sheep, and goats. And from time to time, we'll have to work them a little bit and put some like GPS collars on them.
Mm-hmm.
And the GPS collars run on batteries. So inevitably, and we also have to download the data anyway. So we'll have to pin them, catch them, remove the collars, change out or charge the batteries, download the data, and then we'll have to go catch them again and put the collars back on. So there's this one day and for whatever reason, the goats like to kind of split up into two groups, and so the ranch is fairly large, so we have to really take our time and find them. It's kind of a pain, but this time around it was pretty easy. We found them. It took us forever to get them pinned. They were just not cooperating. It probably took us 2 or 3 hours, and what would normally take two people to do, we had to get the I guess the ranch foreman, if you will, come out and help us because we just could not get it with just on our own. So we had we had 2 4-wheelers and a Ranger out there trying to corral these things. Finally got them in. We got them pinned up. Like, all right, cool. We got them pinned. We're just going to let them rest for a little bit because I'm sure they were stressed out. And we also had to go find the cattle. And the cattle are typically a little bit easier to work. So we went to go look for them. We got them pinned up. We changed the collars and all that stuff pretty easily. And we were going to hit the goats and do them on the way out. And so when we got to the pins, I'm pulling up in the Ranger and I see them walking away. Like all of them. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how did they get out? We closed all the gates. I know for a fact we closed all the gates. So we get over there, and there was one goat left and one of the guard dogs just chilling in the pen. And we're like, what the hell, man? We went around the entire pen. We never found a hole. We have no idea. Yeah, dude. To this day, we have no idea how they got out, but they all got out. And and I was already getting kind of late, and we were frustrated from having tried to corral them earlier in the day. We're like, screw it, we'll just come back in the morning. So luckily, they didn't venture too far throughout the night, and we were able to find them pretty easily in the morning. But it still took us like 3 or 4 hours to get those freaking things worked. But man,
after that sucks,
dude. After that, me and my buddy were just so frustrated. We're just over it. I do not like goats as much anymore. The little ones are still cute. I love watching them, and whenever they start dropping, man, it's just like the cutest thing. We actually got to witness a birth I think this year. It was pretty incredible thing to see, but yeah, dude, they're just so funny, man. They're like so rambunctious. They're jumping off everything, and it's hilarious. It's so entertaining.
It's crazy how coordinated they are at such a young age.
It really is, man. It's really, really impressive.
It is.
But yeah, the little ones I adore. The big ones, not so much. They're punks.
Right. Yeah. See, we used to castrate the little ones because if you get them early enough, it's a lot easier to castrate the kids than when they're older. And so we would use the bands to castrate them. And so you'd put these bands on, and about 2 weeks later, you just see a bunch of little white furry nutsacks all over. But yeah, so we used to do that. But it's the older ones that you want to castrate because they're freaking annoying.
Yeah. Dude, they are really annoying, man. And then when we have to work them, we have to like physically grab their horns and remove the collars if we are unable to run them through the chutes, or whatever. And I've been knocked down a couple times because like I would just grab them as I can, and I had two in my like one in each hand at one point, and they're like twisting and turning and bucking. They knocked me. This was at dead of night too. They knocked me to the ground. They started dragging me. I was like, "What the hell, man? I didn't sign up for this." Right. But it was hilarious, dude. they low key, they are kind of fun to work. I enjoy interacting with the animals. I love seeing the guard dogs, and but it can be kind of a pain, especially in this heat, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to work them here probably, I don't know, in a month or so, and not looking forward to that. I'll probably have to just do it early in the morning before it gets too hot.
Right. It's going to be hot as hell.
Yeah.
Damn it. Well, speaking of hot as hell, it's been hot here, and lakes have been on fire in terms of like boats. So everybody's out on the water, which has made it kind of tough for fishing. So I actually have, when I went camping, I caught one fish. It was a little bitty long ear. But I've been skunked 2 times going fishing. Basically, I'm not going to count that long ear as catching one. It's been tough fishing, but
dude, a fish is a fish.
A fish is a fish, but between the hot water, hot temperatures, low oxygen, and boats, man, it has been ridiculously hard to catch fish. But there's a lake here in Arkansas called Lake Conway that they're going to be draining here shortly, and so they lifted all limits. So, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to completely drain the lake because they're doing some big renovations. And so they're allowing anglers to go out there starting. It was, I believe it started July 21st. There's no bag limits, no length limits, like no limits on anything at all. And from what I've been told, there are some massive alligator gar there, spotted gar, humongous catfish, like all sorts of stuff. But they've raised all limits. So for those of y'all that are in Arkansas that are listening, if you're into fishing, Lake Conway is a place you want to go. And then on top of that, they've actually tagged and released 50 fish that if you catch a tagged fish, it's worth $500. So they're allowing people to go out there and catch everything and keep it. So if that's something you're into, I'd definitely check it out. I'd definitely plan on going out there and hopefully getting on some big bass, big catfish, and maybe even a gar or two on the fly rod. So
nice.
Right. And I think it's like, if I'm not mistaken, about an hour and 15 minutes from where I'm at. So it's not too far.
Yeah.
So that might be a trip here coming up soon for me.
You gonna take the girls?
Probably not. If I'm going to go fishing, it'll most likely be because that lake has a lot of cypress trees and a lot of stumps and a lot of things out in the lake that I would have to get to. It wouldn't be bank fishing by any means. So I definitely want to take my kayak out there, and I don't want to have to deal with the girls with that. So it'll most likely be sometime next month, and it'll probably be me by myself or maybe some buddies or something.
Dude, I want to go fishing so bad, man. I need to get outdoors.
I want to go get on some carp now. Now that you caught one or two.
I want to go back, bro. I want to go after that tilapia I missed, and then I caught grass carp there. That was fun, but I want to try and catch a common now. I've managed to scratch off a koi and a grass carp. Now I just need to hit a common.
Did your roommate catch a freaking mirror carp?
Yeah, dude. And apparently that was his first carp too.
Really? Dude, that was such a cool looking fish. I want to catch a mirror carp so bad. And then he caught a yellow perch on top of that. Oh.
Yeah, he's in Jersey.
I see.
Something like that.
Somewhere up there in the Northeast.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, dude, that he caught a little mirror carp. I was like, damn, bro, for your first carp, that's gonna be hard, tough to top.
Right.
Like your carp, that thing was massive.
Oh man.
And your friggin' redfish, and then your friggin' cutthroat. Like all your firsts are monsters.
My freaking Rio, my first Rio was massive.
Dude, yeah, and you caught that on 2-weight too.
Yeah, 2-weight glass. That was a fun fish to catch.
I haven't been to that creek in a long time.
I haven't either. Last time I went was with you, but that was probably a couple of years ago, wasn't it?
I think that was before you moved to Arkansas.
No. We went one time after I moved up here.
To that creek?
Yes. Because remember the trip that I made? It was right after I got divorced. I made a trip down. I stayed at the Holiday Inn there in San Marcos. We made a trip down there. Is that
where Matt was throwing up?
Yeah, yeah, there was that trip.
Okay.
I forgot about that at Pluckers.
Yeah, that
Dude,
was hilarious. I feel bad for laughing, but it was so funny, man.
it was. It was just the way that he was. Oh, poor
I was
guy.
like, yeah, man. I was cracking up, and you were trying not to crack up. You're like, dude, don't laugh, and I just lost it. And you and I are both dying in the front seat, and Matt's dying for a different reason in the back.
What did he say that was so funny? He said something. I can't remember.
Man, because when he was like, oh man, my head that hurt. That laughing hurts. But if I hope this is not too graphic for our listeners, but like when he was throwing up, he was doing it like silently, but every so often he would make like a random noise. He's like, oh God.
That's what it was.
And then he would just get quiet. And I was like, at first I wasn't laughing. I was like, okay, trying to be respectful, like let him get it out of the system. But then he said that, and I don't know. And just the way he said it, it was just so funny to me, dude. I just lost it.
Dude, that was exactly what it was. Oh God.
But I got my
freaking
karma,
Matt.
man. I got my karma. I started throwing up real bad on my the one and only time I think I ever really got drunk with my buddy Danny. Hopefully we'll have him on the podcast at some point. And we were going, and it was probably the worst time to get drunk too, man. I think I was still fishing with a hangover. I think I might have told this story already, but we probably pulled over 5 or 6 times on the way down to the coast so I can puke. He has a picture of me leaning at the truck window. I don't know what happened to me. I'm gonna have to text him and see if he still got it. But
Damn.
yeah, I got my karma, dude. I got my karma.
Yep, we all have. I mean, I don't remember the last time I threw up from drinking. It was probably you remember that get together I had right after my house was built? And
Yes.
we had pretty much everybody that we went to high school with over.
Yes,
I
do remember
think
that.
I threw up that night. But if I'm not mistaken, I was just on the side of the house, on the side of the garage, and I think I went out there and threw up once or twice, but I don't know if anybody ever knew. I kind of played it cool and then just drank water the rest of the night. But
No,
hell,
I
I was 21, so that was almost 10 years ago.
Oh, man, it feels like forever ago, dude.
Right, it does.
We're getting
Dude, life
old,
has changed
bro.
so much from that time. Hell, you're talking about these graduations that, oh my God, dude, we're getting
I
old
know
if they're
my
already
nephews and
graduating high
nieces.
school.
Bro, I know.
Yep. Dude, my niece turns 21 on the 26th.
No way, dude.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
She's having her 21st.
That's nuts.
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, I think my dad went to Pluckers with her yesterday for her 21st.
You're going to hang out with your pops this weekend?
I am. I'm going to go down. So I'm going to stay with my buddy Daryl Thursday night. And then they asked Crack of Dawn on Friday. I had to go see my dad in Palacious. And then we'll probably stay there all day. And then maybe Saturday, if you're able to make it and if Vic's available, maybe we could all meet up, maybe record a podcast in person or do some fishing or something like that. If not, I'll probably just take the girls to the aquarium or something.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
Yes,
Texas
sir.
Aquarium. Have they ever been before?
Peyton has. I don't know if Adeline has. I don't think she has.
Oh, man. I think she would love it.
Dude, she's gonna love it.
I don't know if they still have that little tank where you can like pet the stingrays, but I think she'd dig that.
Right. The stingrays and the little nurse sharks, and
Yeah.
they tell you not to grab the starfish, but they're in there. Yeah. I haven't been there in forever either.
I was just about to say that too. I haven't either. I can't remember the last time. Have you ever been on the USS Lexington?
I have. Me and my dad went and toured it probably, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or so. And it's crazy because my dad's so damn tall. He's like, what, 6'4"? And
yeah, your dad's a
him
giant.
trying to fit in those lower levels is pretty funny to watch.
Yeah, we don't have that problem. We run pretty small in my family.
Right. But, well, I know that we both got stuff going on, man, and we're going to cut this one short. So is there anything else you want to talk about before we go ahead and end this episode?
Not really, man. Just if any of you are planning on spending any time in the outdoors, just stay safe, drink plenty of water. It's a scorcher, especially here in the great state of Texas. Also, thank you for listening. And again, if you have any comments or if you have any stories that you would like to share, any photos you'd like to share too, I think we're wanting to try and start like sharing listeners' outdoor photos on our Instagram too and social. So don't be afraid to submit those. And also if you have any questions, we aren't the most knowledgeable, but we will try and help in any way we can.
Yep.
And if we can't answer it, we probably know somebody who could.
Exactly.
So just feel free to reach out, and thanks, y'all.
Yep. Thank y'all for listening. We'll catch y'all next time.
Peace.
This has been Wildlife Outdoors. Thanks for listening. Follow us on Facebook at Wildlife Outdoors and on Instagram at wild.life.outdoors. Let's go live life on the wild side.